Hope you have a great day going ahead. Avinnash, before I let you go, I just wanted your view as far as PSU banks are concerned. Monday, all across rally after the announcement that came in now, most of these names, whether it's a Bank of Baroda, Canada Bank, PNB, all of them are coming back to the highs that we saw on Monday, or the opening highs that we saw on Monday. You think that that buying was slightly overdone?
No, I think clearly if you see Bank of Baroda, Pankaj, I think the stock moved by almost 15-20% in a span of just a few days. So I think, on-ground reality indicates that yet asset quality pressures will continue, although it's a good thing that government has decided to capitalize these banks with fresh capital. But I think if you look at the reality, I think it's going to be a long way before we see some sort of improvement on the asset quality side, at least for a couple of quarters. And more importantly, with the now payment banks licenses being given, there is a growing feeling in the market that a large extent, private sector players would now eat up the transaction kind of market, especially, the likes of Reliance, Dilip Sanghvi, or even Paytm. So I think it's going to be a tough call for these public sector banks over the next 12 to 18 months, because clearly the service quality levels from the private sector, players are going to be far better. And that's what now market is feeling, that probably some loss of business could also happen for PSU banks.
So do you think you would be overweight on private banks? You can see on your screen, all of them are seeing major corrections in the last 2 days.
No, I think again private sector banks also have been facing the brunt of asset quality pressure. If you see the Q1 numbers, Pankaj, the asset quality has actually deteriorated. But I think if you look at the difference between private and PSU banks, even as of now, if you look at a IndusInd Bank or Axis Bank, I would be quite comfortable in buying these stocks if I have a 2 to 3 year horizon. Clearly, in the short term, volatility would continue because banking is a high beta sector. So probably these stocks would obviously correct also sharply. But I think overall, it's a long way ahead for PSU banks. I would still like to put my money, on private sector banks.
Thanks, Avinnash, so much for joining us this morning. Hope you have a great day going ahead. We're taking a quick break, coming back in 2 minutes, but on the other